Well, it's great to be joined by one of the candidates for Shasta County Sheriff, John Greene. Thank you, John, for joining me today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to express my interest in my campaign platforms.
Absolutely, and that's actually what I want to get to first.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping, since this is tailored specifically for the local business community,
Mm-hmm.
so through that lens, could you give us a sense for your law enforcement background,
Mm-hmm.
your platform, and why people in business should think John Greene for sheriff?
Okay. Yeah, I've worked with the sheriff's office for 27 years, a little over 27 years, exclusively with the Shasta County Sheriff's Office. Started in 1990 and retired in 2017 with the intention to run for sheriff, which I did against Tomasenko. During my career, I've worked virtually every division within the sheriff's office, with the exception of the coroner's office. But I work closely with them and over the years, and so I think I'm uniquely qualified in that aspect, as knowing the operation of each and every division that is under the office of the sheriff.
That makes sense, and many years of experience there. I will move on to this question for you. So, based upon your years within the department and what's transpired in recent years since 2017, what do you consider the biggest issues facing the sheriff's office? And if you're elected, how would you overcome them?
Well, I believe the number one issue that's faced the sheriff's office, and to be frank, since I started in 1990, the jail was full then, and it's still full now. They've added a few beds here and there, but we've also lost beds with the Crystal Creek and the annex being dissolved over the years. So the jail space is the utmost important thing to me right now. Is immediate increase in jail space, or is it as immediate as it can be? That's the number one issue. Then we get into a bunch of other issues. The staffing levels have suffered over the years. A lot of it due, in my opinion, to the negative light of law enforcement as a whole throughout the country over the last few years, and all the attention that the media has given specific incidents over the years has really put a negative light on the law enforcement profession and the young people who are thinking about getting it. I think it has an effect on the decision they make in the years. So with that, another priority of mine would be to effectively recruit and retain individuals who have an interest in law enforcement, and that starts right here in this community. Reaching out to the high schools, the administration of justice programs through the ROP programs that are going on out here. Number one, the colleges, Shasta College, Butte College, Siskiyou College. I would like to see a part-time academy come back at Shasta College, and I would like to work to get that going. I know Siskiyou has a part-time one, and they're very effective at recruiting local kids for that. But I also think we need to focus on advertising to other agencies throughout the state, showcase our area and what we have to offer. I know they have given a sign-on bonus incentive over the last few years, with that not only for street deputies but as well as for correctional deputies, because we need those as well. The current staffing level in the jail is very, very low, and they're working sometimes 6 days a week, mandatory overtime, just to fulfill Title 15, which is the code that governs custody and staffing levels, just to satisfy those mandates and those issues. So I think a very effective strategy would be to start advertising throughout the state through state law enforcement publications, actually visiting and sending recruitment teams to academies all over the state, and like I said, showcase. We still have a relatively low cost of living compared with the rest of the state.
That's true.
I think we need to work on laterals. We need to get promises that have been made over the years is to get resident posts up again. When I started, they had like 2 deputies and a sergeant in Shingletown. They haven't had one for years. A deputy up there, it's just a beat deputy in the valley that responds to calls. So that's another priority. There are so many priorities, and it's hard to pick just one. But that, and I do believe that marijuana eradication is at the top of the list as well. Throughout the county, the cartels are moving in the outskirts. Shingletown's getting hit really hard with illegal grows on federal lands. and private property as well. So we need to work together with allied agencies, the Forest Service and the California Fish and Wildlife, and start hitting those grows right now. And not only does it bring in that element into our area too, it also affects our water usage, because I had listened to a radio program today, and somebody put out a stat, and I don't quote me on this, but they said that roughly a good sized grow will take 9 million gallons a day to keep those things going out of the ground. So, and with our fire seasons coming up as bad as they are, especially the West Redding area right now, it's a tinderbox waiting to go again. Yeah. And so I think if we start hammering those and keep that groundwater with us, it would be a very big positive. And something else that I know about the sheriff, he's the highest law enforcement public safety official in the county, and he has authority over certain issues when it comes to clearing lands. If it's a public safety issue, no matter who's putting up a fight against it, the sheriff can order the lands to go in and be cleared. And that's something that I would be happy to do, just to create fire breaks, so we don't have a repeat of the car fire again, which probably is inevitable. So, but those are just to name a few, and I'm all about accountability, transparency, and fiscal responsibility. There are several positions in the sheriff's office that have formed over the last few years that I don't agree with. They have public information officers to the tune of $90,000 a year to put out some TikToks and Instagram posts and things like that. When I was in the sheriff's office, I was working in admin. That was part of my collateral duty, was to be the public information officer, put out stuff that is pertinent to public safety, rather than Happy Hot Dog Day or Happy Pencil Day, things of that nature. I see those and it's like, well, really, that's it's warm and fuzzy, but that's not taking care of our issues. So I think money can be spent a little wiser. I know the Board of Supervisors, from the feeling I get from them now is like they're number one public safety, and funding's not going to be an issue, but it's going to take somebody getting in there like me who's actually going to do the job and get recruiting going, getting personnel, increase jail space. I think we have a unique opportunity right now with jail space, going back to that. With the new courthouse being built, the state, which is a state building run by the state courts, once they vacate courtrooms 1 and 2, I know the infrastructure is there in the walls and the facility to convert that very rapidly into more of a medium security, maybe low security jail space. So each side, probably conservatively maybe 50 more beds. So I think within a year we could probably put together a plan where we would have maybe 100 more beds, possibly work release. The center of that facility could be utilized for mental health services, possible homeless services as well, because I know the business community is really concerned about the homelessness issue, the transient issue, the drug issues, and Health and Human Services can come in and operate that and provide these services for these people, and perhaps in the future when we do have a facility, maybe that can be turned into a temporary homeless shelter, and offer services that way, rather than spending tons of money, renting a hotel for a year, where the people, they get comfortable, they don't want to leave, So we need to have those services available for people that are in need.
Okay, and actually this sort of plays into some of the things that you mentioned there, particularly the last comments about expansion of incarceration rehabilitation services. It's been highly publicized that Sheriff Johnson has come out with a presentation, what he calls the Wagon Wheel of Justice proposal. What do you think should be the approach going forward regarding incarceration and rehabilitation?
Well, I think it's a concept at this juncture. It is campaign season, so and this is a thing that's plagued our community. So of course there's going to be these ideas and plans coming out, and I know it was a rather lengthy presentation, but I didn't see a location identified, staffing levels, the actual cost, other than a big ballpark figure. I think the concept is good, because we do need jail space, and we do need to have a kind of a one-stop shop facility that will encompass mental health services, medically assisted treatment services, health and human services over the years, and I don't know why it's been snubbed at by the previous sheriffs. It's called MAT, medically assisted treatment, where you get somebody who's come in who's an addict and they need help, getting off of whatever drug they're using. Cold turkey has a very, very high recidivism rate.
Sure.
And so they need to be properly cared for while they are incarcerated. And Health and Human Services has offered to pay for the incarceration for that person, the treatment, the physician, and the medications to effectively get these people off of what they're on. And that being said too, nobody's going to stop unless they want to. And I have personal family experiences with that, and it really changed my opinion of drug addicts over the years. When I was a street cop working the streets of Shasta County all those years, you're the hard charger, and you arrest the drug addict because it has drugs on him, and back then it was a felony, and now it's maybe an infraction or a misdemeanor, and in my mind it was like, hey, why are you doing this? It's your fault. You need to stop. Basically, pull yourself up and do it. And over the years, after educating myself and looking into this, it has changed my perspective, like a 180, where it's not necessarily their fault or their problem. It's they can't, and so those services have to be available for the people who really want to change. And if they don't want to change, they're not going to change. And that's just the harsh reality of it. But we need, if we want the homeless issues, the transient issues, the crime that goes along with all that to wane and get better for the businesses in this community, we need to step up and provide those services to those who want it.
Thank you, John. The final, since I know that we've only really scratched the surface on a few topics that are under the responsibility of the sheriff, and things that the sheriffs in the past have been known to be in support of or not. And anyway, I want to give you an open opportunity to give some closing remarks, make the case for support, particularly to the business community.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I've been, well, I haven't said this, but a little bit about my background other than just with the sheriff's office. I've been in this community since I was 15 years old. My parents moved up here from Southern California, and I didn't have a choice, but I'm glad they did. I've been local ever since for 40 years now, and went to Shasta College, and went to UC Santa Barbara, went to several other colleges, kind of bounced around colleges, but I haven't bounced around in my career. I'm not the kind of person who looks for the next big paycheck. I stayed with my community for 27 years of service here, and I did it to the point where I knew there needed to be change because it was stale and stagnant. And that's why I made the decision 4 years ago to run for sheriff. And even though I lost by a small percentage, I think I had a very effective campaign and a message, and I think the people know that I'm doing this from the heart. I'll be a lifelong Shasta County resident, where there are 4 generations of us here right now. I have 3 children that are adults. I've been married 33 years, and we have 5 grandchildren, and we're not going anywhere. I'm not looking for a big retirement and bailing out and going somewhere else to Idaho or wherever. We like California, and we love Shasta County, and I am in this to serve the people, and I'm actually glad this time we have a vote for sheriff, and we've had 3 sheriffs in the last 3 years, 2 of which have been appointed by the Board of Supervisors, totally ignoring the election process last time. They, for whatever reason, it's allowed by case law for them to do that. I think they could have done a little bit better at it, instead of just relying on this case law from 1903 when it was hard for people to get to polls back then, and especially with all the stuff that has gone on with COVID related, and now everybody gets a ballot at their house, and it's it's a lot easier to vote nowadays. But I'm thrilled that we have a vote, and I'm thrilled to have support from a lot of the community again, like I did last time, and I think that they're ready for change. And True, I read this quote, and I don't know, tried to look it up. I don't know who said it, other than a pro golfer, Phil Mickelson, said, true change is preceded by disruption. And if the last few years have not been disruption in Shasta County, I don't know what is. So true change is coming, and I ask for the vote of Shasta County and the support of the citizens and the businesses in this community. Because I will fight for every right and public safety issue that I can.
Well, John Greene for Sheriff, thank you for
You bet.
joining us today, joining me, and sharing some of your story and your platform with our audience, mostly business community folks, but this will be shared out beyond our own membership. And I hope that this has brought you all who are watching some greater information and context about Mr. Greene, his professional experience, and his heart for serving the county. So thank you so much, John.
Thank you. Very nice to be here.
Appreciate it. Yep,
Thank
you got it.